Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast brought to you by myself, Uncommon Fossil, and 10 Types.
Yep. Hello, everyone.
And we got a big week this week in Pokemon TCG Pocket with both trading coming and a new set coming. So we'll talk about that. Now, they're going to come out probably within just a couple days of the podcast dropping, but I think it's a good time to talk about it right at this point. So that's what we decided to do. So anyway.
Yeah, there's also been another thing of news is that the new set was just released. Battle Partners came out in Japan, so that's another thing, which will probably be I don't know. We talked about it some, but that's another thing going on now. There is stuff going on in the regular TCG and Pocket right now, which is cool.
Right. Yeah, you're getting some more new cards and all that. So that's good for sure. So first off, with Pocket, two things. They have announced that there have been 40 billion cards collected in Pocket. So it's seeming like it's the game's a success, I would say. And we got a free Pokédex card, I think, alternate art. I guess. And but anyway, 40 billion cards. So I assume that means lots of money as well. And then the other thing, which ties into their success and their monetization, is and the TCG, they now have the McDonald's cards at the Pokemon cards at McDonald's. If you order from McDonald's with the McDonald's app and sign up for their advertising, you get some free stuff for Pocket. You get, I think, enough hourglasses for 2 packs and one Wonder Pick, I think. So,
okay.
So, but that's part of their whole growing their brand thing too, right? And that's which I think that's new ground, at least in the TCG world, right? The regular physical TCG didn't go to that extent. So finding new ways to monetize, hopefully ways to monetize that will allow budget players to succeed and get the cards we want.
Yeah, and the game to grow. But regardless, we'll see what happens for that in the future. And the TCG as a whole, I will say Pocket, I think it's been successful, but I don't think it's been I had really high expectations. And I think it's lived up to the expectations. I don't think it's necessarily drastically exceeded expectations. But it's piggybacking off of the regular Pokemon TCG, which is huge, and also Pokemon Go, which was also huge. So we'll see if it actually I would say it's not at the level that Pokemon Go was, but we'll see if it does get there.
Right. I mean, Pokemon Go became a cultural phenomena for a year or two, and still pretty big. The Pocket's nowhere near that. I'm guessing it's not going to be at that level, but if it's at close to the level of the regular TCG, which is also massive, I think Pokemon will be pretty pleased with things.
Yeah, I mean it's I think a similar level to Pokemon Go where it is now, but it's not as big as. When people think of Pokemon Go, specifically people who aren't Pokemon fans, they probably think of something back in I don't know, sometime before COVID, where there was so many people playing it. But regardless, today we are talking about the new set and some new features. So what do you want to start off with?
Let's start off with trading first. I probably have more to say that than you, and then we'll probably spend more time on the actual new cards for the new set first. So trading's coming. It's coming, I believe, on January 28th, the Tuesday, although another announcement said the 29th. And the whole international dateline thing gets a little weird. So, is it going to be, more? Who knows? So about Tuesday, it's coming to the game. And what it says here, I'm not going to read through this whole little announcement here, but all of it. But it says you can trade is between friends. So only between friends is what I assume that means. I have a few friends in the game, so how we're going to have to, some of it is what are we going to be able to do with trading and how quickly can we build out our collection. Which that will be, time will tell, so we don't know everything about it. So you're going to have to find friends. So I guess Discord servers are going to be a big thing. I'm not sure. And then I guess our friends, our friends in the game, can we look through their collections or like with Pokemon, with PTCG, you're going to have to tag cards for trade that other people can see. Don't know about how that's going to work. Trades are between cards of the same rarity, so I assume 1 card for 1 card. So 1 3-diamond card for 1 3-diamond card. And the rarities at this point are all of the diamonds 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 1 star cards. So you can't trade the alternate art supporters or the alternate arts for the EXs. And go on.
And then in terms of you can currently tag cards that you want, but it's kind of
Yeah.
awkward to do. There's a lot of like menus in Pocket and just like stuff, which is a little complicated. I'm sure there are things that I just am not really aware of, or that like lots of people just don't know too much about. But you can tag cards for want, which doesn't really like do anything, I don't think. But it might make them show up on Wonder Picks.
I
I don't know. Presumably that would make sense for trading though.
Yeah, I think though, because I was looking into it, and yes, it's complicated, and we're going to get some new currencies, so it gets to get new features. It'll get more complicated, unfortunately, there. But I believe the cards you want only works is if you don't have a copy. So it's designed for collectors only. I think you can't want a
I think you
second.
can mark cards that you have a second copy of. I'm not sure though. I haven't
Okay,
really done
I
it
I
much.
couldn't figure that out, so I just gave up on it. So it seemed like you could only do it for a card to tag a card I didn't own yet, which is
Yeah.
nice. But I also want to get a second card for playing. So, and then I think it's supposed to show up in the Wonder Pick. So yeah, that might help with trading. But how we find trade partners and all that time we won't know that till it happens. So I don't think unless some leaks happen. And at this point, you can only trade cards from Genetic Apex and Mythical Island. But that's only cards in the game. But what they say is, but then the new set drops the day after this. It's, as I understand, Tuesday will be trading. Wednesday will be the new set. But I don't anticipate that we can't trade the new set right away. What they say is we're planning to continue to expand the selection of booster packs that you can trade from. So probably it's not going to be till the next set's going to come out that you can trade a set, right? Because they want obviously it's the whole monetization idea, which is it's legitimate that they monetize things in a reasonable fashion. So they want to kind of encourage people that need to get the cards right away. You got to spend money on to open more packs, but then the cards, they're older cards to fill out your collection, get the decks you want, you can trade. I think so. If you're patient, you can trade to fill things out. If you're not patient, you got to still spend the money to open packs right away.
Yeah, and I actually opened Pocket on my phone. So is the like for one, is that the wish list feature or no favorites feature?
Oh, is
Um,
I didn't
there's like
think
a
that was
favorites thing.
favorites. I thought there was a wish list or
Yeah, I think there might
something.
have been. I don't really know. It's kind of weird, but regardless,
Yeah.
there are different. Oh no, there's a wish list. Yeah, maybe it's only cards you don't have. I just looked at it. But regardless, yeah, we'll see how exactly that works in terms of finding friends. Like you can friend random people in game. Ultimately, I think, like an issue. So Pokemon TCG Online, if you don't know, that was the predecessor to Pokemon TCG Live, the
Yeah.
current online TCG
Client.
client
Yeah.
thing, and that had a trading feature. And there were a bunch of issues with it, which I think we need to like kind of break down to figure out, like to say why Pokemon's doing the things that it is. But one of the issues, in my opinion, was that you had to kind of reference like a third party resource to figure out trading, and trading was public though. That wasn't just with friends. I
Right.
think trading also the public trading kind of led to people getting essentially just like scammed. But then so that's why they're doing it just friends presumably. But then within like finding friends, I hope it doesn't like certainly finding them on third party sources like you said like Discord or wherever does work, but lots of people won't do that. Most people won't.
Right.
So I feel like there are ways to find people in game. You play against them, but like just actual friends. Like it seems like, and you mentioned this earlier. I don't remember if it was on the podcast, but Pokemon's trying to create like this like pseudo community thing.
Right.
And so we'll see if that actually like if trading's going to help that, or if it's just going to be just a currency thing essentially.
Right, because like you and I talk to each other, so we could talk about trades too, off not in the game and figure it out. But you can't be having to communicate with these people, random strangers, right? That's not good, especially for a game for kids and such. It's not a kids game per se, but that's part of the community. So I don't know how that's going to work. I will say this in terms. I have been trying to make more friends in the game. Just figuring with this once this announcement came out, I think it will make it easier, assuming I can see their collection, right? And that's a big unknown. But getting some friends lined up first. For me, I like my cards all in the one language I use, so I'm trying to make sure all my so what I'm doing is when I wonder pick from people, then I know at least that wonder pick was from the language I want. So random game people a lot of times, or sometimes obviously are not English, which is the language I speak and want the cards in. So then I have to unfriend them later. So which I do, but I always feel kind of bad about that. So anyway,
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird. Like it's kind of cool, as like collecting. It's definitely a like I guess it's like a fun thing to have in the game, but it's also kind of it's kind of weird. And the cards like I guess switch language back when you're playing with them. But then, again, that's kind of weird. But regardless, yeah, trading's definitely going to be I think a good feature to target specific cards because crafting is. Or wait, is that what it's called? The
well, when you spend the pack points
Yeah.
to get a card, yeah, it takes a lot of work to get a card. So especially like an EX card. Now, here's a question which I haven't heard raised, which I think is a big question to me: is how many copies of a card do we need to be able to trade it?
Oh, that's a good question. I just kind of assumed you could trade whatever, but well, and also it says you can let's see, you can trade certain cards from the set. And I
Right.
don't know if that means every card of a 1 diamond through 1 star rarity can be traded from these sets, or if it means only certain cards from 1 diamond to 1 star rarity. Like, am I not gonna be able to trade for like a Pikachu EX like a Gengar EX or whatever? Or will I have to yeah, like I don't know. It's kind of weird the way they said it. And they also said like it's not like they said that and then the separate thing later on they were like, "Oh yeah, so you can only do cards with a certain rarity." No, it's on this like letter thing. It says the one bullet is you only be able to trade certain cards. The next bullet is you can trade cards with these rarities. So they seem like two things that are both true and not just the same bullet repeated. So I'm a little nervous about that.
Well, the first bullet point also talks with just where it says certain cards talks about the sets you can trade from, right?
Yeah.
So my hope is that you can trade any of the 1 through 4 diamond for another comparable card, the same rating, or any one star card. Obviously, if it's not, people are going to be pretty upset. I think everyone's assuming you can. I think people are also assuming you can be able to trade like 2 diamond, 2 star, and 3 star cards later on. But I don't think that's what the announcement's saying. That's what people think. I think the expanding down the road is as new expansions come out. I think that's
Yeah, I assume that's what it means. Or it could also mean if they're like not letting you trade all the 1 diamond through 1 star cards, it might for whatever reason, then they'd open that up eventually, which I don't know exactly why they do it that way. I mean, kind of to make people, to spend more money. Obviously, trading something that's more or less free. I mean, we'll talk about the currency in just a
yeah.
moment, but it's not like it's you could do some of it for free. So in some ways, it's just adding extra currency to the game, extra free stuff you can get, and so they might restrict it if they aren't making as much money as they want. Though I don't know if that's. I don't think they like restrict specific cards. That I don't think that makes a lot of sense.
Right. No, I think right. The higher rarity cards that'll be a question of what they want to do about that, right? Because especially those people that are chasing all the fancy cards, those are the people that they can make a lot of money off of, right? So they don't want to throw away money. So, but that's not us. I mean, I'm not concerned about getting all these fancy rare cards. I just want play sets of cards, and I think you're the same way. So that's for us. Now, let me just say, in terms of real briefly, I'm not sure how much I can fill out my collection with this. There are, I believe, 20 unique EXs, not counting the Lapras EX, which is
Yeah.
a promo, which I assume my guess is we can't trade for that, but
Yeah, and I was like, what if someone joins later and like Lapras CX is a card, and there's a handful of cards. I'm gonna say a
right.
handful, like 5 or 10 that you can only get through certain events that now you just can't get. So it feels really bad if those cards become good. I mean, not even if they aren't good, but
Right.
a new player just can never get them. I mean, like having something special is kind of cool for a newer player or for like um, veteran players who started at the beginning or started earlier. But if you have a new player who now is like at a substantial and unrecoverable disadvantage, that's like an issue.
Yeah, so I think either they're going to have to run these events again periodically, I would think, or they could make it that we can trade the promos for promos, right? Because the promos, I don't know
Yeah.
that they have diamonds and stuff. I don't remember. So
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure they do not have rarities on them.
I think right. I think they're going to have to do something to address that. I mean, fortunately, those aren't the main cards that people want to play. But at this point, look.
Yeah.
So for the
Except for the ones in the shop. Those are main ones that people want to play.
oh right, which everyone has access to. So
Yeah.
of these EXs, there's 20 EXs because there's 5 from each of the packs that we have, and to get a play set of each, there's 40 cards I need. So I have pulled so far between packs and Wonder Picks 33. I have full of these EXs.
Wait,
Plus,
so that means
I have
um
not counting the extra, like if I have 4 or 5 copies of, like I have like 4 copies of Mewtwo EXs. But I just count 2 of those towards that total, if you know what I'm saying.
oh, okay, so like for now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have 40 of the 30. I have 33 of the 40 cards. I obviously would like to get these other 7 EXs, because I have no Pikachu EXs, and I'm missing the other 5 are single EXs. So assuming if you have to have if you have to have 3 copies, which I think is possible, meaning you have to keep a play set, because if you're thinking of player based, play focused, you have to keep 2 copies of the card. Then I only have 2 cards that I can trade. There's only
Wait,
two.
the two Mewtwo EXs.
No, I can't trade any of the Mewtwo
Wait, can you not trade
EXs.
any of the Mewtwo
No,
EXs?
because I don't have a regular art Mewtwo EX. I have a Crown
Oh,
Rare, which I pulled from a Pikachu pack, which I was annoyed because I already had 3 Mewtwo EXs. And then I have 2 immersive arts, and I have an alternate art. So none of those are ever going to be tradable.
yep.
But and if I pull a Mewtwo EX, unless I probably can't trade that because that's my only copy, a regular art one. Because anyway, but so I have 2 copies, two EXs where I have 3 copies of the basic art. So that means I can get up to 35 of the 40 cards, but I don't know if I can get more than that. If I can keep only, if I only need to keep 1 copy, and if I have 2 copies to trade, then I think I can trade 1 more card. So I could trade 3 cards. So I'm still going to be missing a bunch of cards, even with the trade feature. And that's ignoring the fact that it's going to take a bunch of time to make these trades. And I think I need 23 of the 3 diamond cards when I looked at it. And I have enough cards to maybe to trade for 16 of them. So
Yeah, but I think the goal is like just to get a few like at least as a player to get like some of the like top decks or
Yeah.
decks that you want to play. Because in Pocket you can get a good chunk of good decks. You can't necessarily get all the
Yes.
good decks, but you can get a bunch of them for free. So I think it's like, for example, you to get like 2 copies of Pikachu EX, which you could do, right?
Yes, I have I should be able to do that. I'll have to find obviously trade partners. I assume now how hard it's going to be to make these trades, I don't know, because everyone's going to want a Pikachu EX, right? There's going to be like a set of like 5 or 6 cards that everybody wants to trade for right off the
Yeah, and I
bat.
assume it's just 1 for 1. So, and that's kind of weird because
Yeah.
then some cards have different like values. Obviously, like some are just better than others. Um, but you're still trading. So like someone's just going to get the worst end of the deal.
Right.
And in some ways, then that'll be like trading with like your friends because it's like, oh well, I don't like need this and I want this card. And you're my friend, so even though if I'm like losing something, then it's fine. But we'll see exactly how this goes. I think trading, I'm overall optimistic about it. Like it seems good. We'll talk about the currency in just a moment, though.
Yeah.
But I think that's fine too.
Yeah, no, look, it's a good thing because this is the only way to get like some of the cards you haven't been able to get. Like for me to get Pikachu X, I'm like trading, or I'm going to have to just start spending a bunch of money till I open enough packs to get pack points. I have over 500 pack points, so I could buy or craft whatever the term is 1 Pikachu X. But that's a whole lot of packs to get another 500 pack points to get there. So
Yeah. And then there are some currencies. It's not free. Well, it's so this is kind of weird. We've seen a few images of trading. So most of them aren't super useful, but this one here shows someone's like trading a Raichu, and there are some currencies on the top. It says here on PokeBeach, and I've heard this used a few times, pack hourglass, or no, trade hourglasses and trade tokens. I don't know what the trade hourglasses are, because I'd assume they look like an hourglass, but they don't. I guess it's this one with, wait.
there's an
Um,
image of a trade hourglass in Pokemon Zone. It looks like an hourglass that's green colored, as is all the currencies for the trading are.
okay. Um, there's just one that's like a circle and this one that's like a square. Are they both there as well?
Um,
Or,
and it has the circle one, but it doesn't have the one that's a square. I think the one that's right. The circle one I think looks like a leaf to me.
oh yeah, it kind of, I
Or
think when you zoom in, it's like just a circle. Okay, so
oh,
yeah, the square one is where the hourglass would be.
mhm.
Kind of like the
Well,
blue hourglasses
oh,
for the like events.
you know what there is? I think there's pack stamina. So the square ones are the pack stamina, right? I believe.
Wait, then what's, you mean trade stamina?
Yeah, sorry, trade stamina. I'm sorry, because it shows the thing in the upper corner of the green square one. They show 5 of those, right, with a little plus thing,
Hmm.
like when you want to refresh your stamina for trading or wonder pick. So There's going to be
Oh, yeah, so the hourglass are what you spend to replenish the stamina. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have the stamina, we have hourglasses for that, and then we have this trade tokens, which we don't really have tokens for something else, I guess, or maybe we do when like you buy like those special play mats and stuff, right? If you want to do that in the game, I forget.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like, a bunch of currencies, well, no, it's kinda like the Wonder Picks where you have the, Wonder, the watch things,
But that's
yeah, I
only
don't
but
remember the name of that.
oh yeah, the rewind, right? But you don't have to use that all the time. Normally, you just use stamina, right? Just like when you open packs, you
Yeah.
usually just need stamina. Now you need three things: you need the stamina, you need this token, a trade token, and you need the card itself. So, um, and obviously, how quickly can we get these? I'm assuming since there's going to be hourglasses, I imagine we can use our shop tickets to get the hourglasses. And right now, you kind of as a free budget player, you kind of use up all the hourglasses every month with the pack for the pack hourglasses and the Wonder Pick hourglasses. So that'll be its own decision then. How do you want to utilize your resources? Because I don't know that we'll get enough to buy all these assuming it resets every month like the other hourglasses. I don't know that we can buy all of those all the time.
Yeah, and then also the other currency, which is what's it? The trade tokens.
Yeah.
Seems like you get like a bunch of them, and that's something that you spend. I'd assume based on the rarity of the card. So Raiju here, which is a 3 diamond card, says it takes 120. And that is not the same as the. I was just checking if it's the same as the number of pack points. It's not, but we'll see
Okay.
exactly what happens with like how that works, how easy it is to trade cards, because it might end up being. Hopefully, it's not super hard to trade for EXs that or like any cards. That would be kind of annoying.
Right, because it shows 500 of these trade tokens, this image here. I don't know if that's the max. Like a lot of times there's a cap. So I wonder, and I was thinking it's 500 pack points to get it. So I wonder if you need 500 to get an EX, and then you have to max up all the way. So in
It'd
which
be
case,
probably 500 for their 1 star.
that's
Maybe not.
true. That's true. The 1 star should be more expensive. Yeah.
Um,
So
and
yeah. So
then
I mean, so you're gonna need extra copies of the cards. To what extent we don't know yet. And then you're gonna need these currencies. So you're also gonna have to kind of. It's gonna take some time. So you're gonna have to really target the cards you want because your resources are limited, and it's gonna take some time to do. Hopefully, like I need 2 Pikachu EXs. Can I?
oh wait, sorry, I was just checking on. So the EXs are more pack points than the 1 star cards. There might be
Okay.
more rare too. So it's probably those might be the ones that are the most expensive. The
The
EXs to trade for.
okay. The 4 diamond are more than the 1 crown. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So how quickly can we get cards, and how easily is it going to be to find trade partners? That's kind of the stuff that we'll find out soon about that. So hopefully it's they've done a good job implementing the game so far. So I assume it'll be reasonable. But that's kind of the question. It's not going to be a thing where we can fill up a full play set of cards, though. I know because I was looking through the diamond and 2 diamond cards. I have tons of extra cards of those, so I think I'm missing a few, but I also have like 10 and 15 of a lot of them too. So that I can trade for. But if it takes a long time to generate the trades, the currencies, I want to do the 3 diamond and the 4 diamonds first.
Yeah, and then also I wonder who spends the currency, if like both people spend it or just one person. Um, but yeah, we'll just see how this goes. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I guess I don't like care a ton, but I care some. I think it's going to be good for the game. But then the next thing, because I don't think trading is interesting, but ultimately we don't know too much about it so far,
Right.
and it's going to be meaningful. But I said interesting; it's not like super interesting. However, we did see a bunch of new cards. Well, we saw some new cards and a new pack as well, or two
Two
new
two
packs, I guess,
packs.
for the new set. And this
Yes.
is called Space-Time Smackdown.
Yeah, so the quick thing, it's Space-Time Smackdown, just to give the details on it, if I as I understand. It's coming out Wednesday the 29th. That was in the video. Their press release said the 30th, so that Pokemon whatever. Again, it might be the Dateline issue. The 29th was the one in English, so I'm guessing that's when it's coming to North America. It's going to have 140 cards with 2 booster packs, the Dialga and Palkia, and which we'll talk about that in a minute. And so for comparisons, and I assume that includes the alternate art cards. That we don't know, but it's a lot smaller than Genetic Apex. Genetic Apex had 286 cards and 226 diamond cards. Okay, not counting the alternate art cards. So it's assuming it's about half the size, I think, of Genetic Apex, and a lot bigger than Mythical Island. Mythical Island had 86 cards in total, including the alternate art. So it's in between those two. And I thought it would have been bigger. I thought it would have been closer to Genetic Apex, but I guess they made that bigger since it was the first set. They wanted to give more diversity to the card pool.
Yeah, I think that's probably why they wanted like an actual game as opposed to just one set. I mean, there were a few promos to get things kicked off as well. And this only has 2 packs, which I'm guessing will mean that there's only 10 EXs. I don't know, but that would make sense. Because no, there's 5 per pack from what we've seen so far, and we've seen 4. Was it? Apparently, there's a Lucario EX, but I don't know where that came from, to be honest. But this Pokemon article says that there is one. Anyways, yeah, we are going to be seeing some EXs guaranteed, at least 3 or 4. We'll probably see like 10, I think. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would. I would
Agree, I guess.
imagine. Both Genetic Apex and Mythical Island had 5 each, so in each pack. So probably continue that. The number of 3 diamond cards has varied though, so that might be more of a question.
Uh,
So I don't know. I don't know
I
which
don't
is
know the rarities or the ratios that well.
right. Yeah. So the in Genetic Apex, all 3 packs within that all had the same number of 3 diamond cards. But then it was less 3 diamond cards in the Mythical Island pack. So it might be the same, but anyway, we'll see what it is. You want to try to have it so that you get a good ratio of, as you kind of complete your collection of rare cards, kind of at kind of an even level, right? Ideally. So, but we'll see.
What do you mean?
Well, you're pulling more 3 diamond cards. You're pulling 3 diamond cards more often than the 4 diamond cards. So to me, I'd like to kind of percentage of completion to work kind of similar between the different rarities. That's the way I look at it. But that's kind of my mindset. You don't
from
want
set to set,
right,
or like in total. Oh, in total.
like in each of these packs, like you don't want to have 5 of the 4 diamond cards and then only have 5 of the 3 diamond cards, but you're pulling the 3 diamond cards like 4 times faster, right? You're just going to end up with a whole lot of 3 diamond cards you can't use well before you get all the 4 diamond cards.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the other way around, at least for the low end cards.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll see. We haven't seen two. Well, I guess we've seen a Turtwig, a Chimchar, and a Piplup. This is a Gen 4 focus set as well. I honestly don't know the video game very well. I think you know it less than me.
Yeah.
And so I think all these cards are Gen 4. I'm not sure. But anyways, we got Dialga EX and Palkia EX potentially. Could be getting an Arceus EX at some point. Could be in this set, but I think not. I don't know. Could be a mini set. Whatever. We'll see. That doesn't really matter. But yeah, do you just want to hop into the cards specifically themselves?
Just one other thing to say. To what extent will there be unique cards to the 2 packs versus shared ones? I assume it'll be a mix like Genetic Apex, where some cards are unique and there's some cards shared between the 2 packs. But I assume it's not just unique cards to each pack. But we don't. We're limited to what our information at this point.
Yeah. So let's start with Dialga EX, I guess. This is one of the pack art Pokemon, and it has 150 HP. It's, of course, a basic Pokemon. It is a metal Pokemon. If you don't know anything about metal in Pokemon TCG Pocket, you are not alone. But it's bad. There are only 3 different evolution lines. There's a Bisharp, which is like very generic. It's like Golduck or some other cards that I don't remember, and it's not particularly good. Then you have Mawile, which is like this disruptive Pokemon. I believe it's discard energy on a coin flip, something like that. Just like 30 for 1. It's whatever. Maybe it's no, I think it's 20 for 1. It's whatever. And then you have Melmetal, which has its stage 1 single prizer with I believe 130 HP. Takes 20 less damage from attacks due to its ability.
Right.
and I think its attack's like 130 for 4 or something, or
Yeah,
maybe it's 120.
it's 120 for 4. That's one I also haven't pulled yet. So, and I was not in any hurry to craft it because there's just not enough metal, and it's obviously you couldn't get it powered up. Also,
Yeah, you do have the Meltan, which can power it up with its attack. It accelerates to itself, but it's a 60 HP basic, so that might get knocked out before you're evolved, and doesn't do anything at that point.
right.
So Dialga EX here comes in with its first attack here, Metallic Turbo for 2 metal. You do 30, take 2 energy from your energy zone and attaches to one of your benched Pokemon. And then your second attack here, Heavy Impact, which does 2 metal, 2 colorless. That's the attack cost, and it does 100 damage. And this can accelerate the first attack to any type of Pokemon, which is like a really big deal, I think.
Right, right. Other things that can only accelerate that energy type to that type of Pokemon, so it gives good flexibility, right? The downside, and the retreat cost is 2, by the way, which that's not great on it, but
Yeah.
but it's a 150 HP basic, so that's very good. You can't, you have to attach twice. So if you're trying to play this, you're going to really need to go second, right? Because if you can't attach your first energy till turn 2, you're not in a good spot. So 2
I guess.
energies,
I mean, it depends like what you're setting up behind. Um,
yeah,
like potentially you could be setting up a Mew EX, your opponent's playing Mewtwo EX, and if they go and set up and then just like one shot your Dialga, you can respond by potentially one shotting their Mewtwo EX. And ultimately it's a card that's it's still relatively cheap. Like 2 energy is the same attack cost as Pikachu EX. Obviously Pikachu EX is a damaging attacker, like a substantially damaging attacker. Dialga
right.
EX is more of a setup card, I think. Certainly the second attack is pretty good, meaningful. And while it can accelerate to other types of Pokemon, if you want to say accelerate to Celebi EX, which is theoretically interesting as a combo, then you should be playing Grass Energy, and you can only get that from the Energy Zone, and then you can only get the Metal Energy on Dialga EX, the first one from the Energy Zone. So that's going to be really awkward and probably not something you're going to be able to do. So it's technically like it can accelerate to anything, but the Pokemon need to be really all colorless or like metal energy cost.
Right. I mean, like if you're going with this deck, you're going to play Mew EX, I assume, most likely. At least it's a consideration, right? Because that attacks for colorless energy and such. So, yeah. I mean, the fact you're going to need, and a lot of these good Pokemon also rely only on their type of energy for the attacks, right? So, and I think both energies, 2 energies, they both have to go to a single Pokemon. So, it needs to have at least an attack cost of 2 colorless energy, and if it's metal plus some other type, there's the whole randomness of when do you get the energies you want. So that gets a little dicey. So yeah, I think it's metal and colorless decks that are going to want to do this. And the second attack, 100 damage for 4 energies. I'm thinking, you're going to play 2 Dialga EX in the deck, so at times you'll power up one on the bench, but it's mainly here. I'm thinking for the first attack, 30 and accelerate 2 energy.
Yeah, and I think Mew EX is good. Tauros could be good,
Mm,
and yeah, I mean Farfetch'd might be good as well. I don't know. That's obviously cheaper though.
right.
But yeah, definitely an interesting card, I guess. I think it's like I think it's okay. How good do you think this will be?
It's okay. I just the 2 energies I'm concerned about getting going, right? Without any way to accelerate it. At best case, you're attacking turn 2, or you're attacking turn 3. Um, you shouldn't be getting knocked out before that. So, but that's the concern, right? You don't want to give up 2 prizes before you set up your main attacker with this. So, a card like the Moltres EX is just so much better, right? With what it does than this. Is that the
Yeah, yeah.
so?
Um, but it's like also Ultra CX doesn't do damage. This is applying pressure, which is yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to presumably seeing more metal Pokemon, right? I think that's going to be
Yes. Yeah.
hopefully exciting. Maybe it's not. Maybe this is the only metal Pokemon we're getting for the next 5 years. But
Yeah, I mean, this is the only metal Pokemon they revealed, so right, so it doesn't look like it's not going to be a metal focus set. I don't believe.
I guess I hope it's like somewhat metal focused. Like it's on the pack. Yeah. Anyways, then the other
Yeah,
Pokemon in the pack here is Palkia EX. This does 30 for 1 water. It also has 150 HP, 2 retreat. Then for 4, you do 150, and then you discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. It does 20 to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon.
yeah. I mean, I think this one makes Dialga look better, honestly. Um,
Yeah, as a finisher, I think it's good. Like if you can use Vaporeon, or obviously if you get like really lucky on Misty, it's really good.
right.
Um, I guess, but like that's true for most cards, most water cards.
Yeah, I mean, 4 energies to do 150, and then you have to discard 3 of them. So then you're just doing 30. So I think it's here because it's tanky, and you're doing 30 damage with it, right? If you're playing it, but I'm not sure what decks are going to want that, right? That's the question.
Yeah, like with Vaporeon, it's interesting. I don't think Vaporeon's great. However, there are. I mean, you mentioned Lapras EX earlier. There's Articuno EX, which is really solid. It's a good card. I think it's a little underrated right now. It's not really talked about. People are talking about like Gyarados EX because it's new and
Hmm.
it's it does more damage, has higher HP, but obviously way more expensive and also but it's an evolution. But you could do like Vaporeon, and it's generally played with I think Starmie EX and um like Articuno EX, maybe Gyarados EX. Generally, you'll have some like stage one in there in addition to Vaporeon, which makes it awkward. We could just be using Vaporeon, a Palkia EX, maybe one Palkia EX, two Articuno EX, maybe even throw in a Lapras EX in there as well to just switch between the different attackers and have the strong finisher with Palkia as well, or Palkia EX.
Right. I mean, yeah, the second attack is there's a finishing attack does 20 across 150. The active, of course, is very nice, but then the 20 to the bench. But yeah, you kind of want to be probably winning the game at that point. Water decks are good. I haven't been playing them a lot lately, so like you're playing like as I'm looking like Starmie EX does 90 for 2. You're not finishing things off a lot, so that extra smack. It kind of, in a sense, it's a way to it kind of mix. If you don't want to play the Greninja, right? I don't. Or you could even double up with Greninja in this to really spread things. But Greninja is important in some of these decks, and this is a kind of takes that place of the Greninja, I guess, on a basic, right? You need to get the
Uh,
energy on,
I
but
guess
you don't have to evolve.
with
So
wait with the 20 snipe or 20 spread. I mean,
yeah, yeah, with the big
yeah.
attack. So
And there's also Articuno EX, which is the 10 spread, which is obviously, less,
yes.
but that also is like you'll probably attack twice and it can get there to 20, which isn't necessarily what you need. But Palkia EX, I think, is okay. It's not like amazing. I mean, I guess if Water gets some more support, it's good, but Water's gotten so much support already. I hope it doesn't really get too much more. I mean, um, yeah, it's been kind of insane.
Yeah, I mean Misty's real swingy, and hopefully if this sees a lot of play, it's just going to make the Misty decks even swingier, which isn't good, I would say, for the game overall.
Yeah. But then I think we can move on to the next
Yep.
cards here. We got ourselves Lucario. And this is a stage one fighting Pokemon. Supposedly there's a Lucario EX, it says here, but we'll see about that. We'll see what that is. And this Lucario is good. Obviously, you can't get two Lucarios and two Lucario EX in play, presumably. So this has its ability, Fighting Coach, which says attacks used by your fighting Pokemon do 20 more damage to your opponent's active. Your attack for two fighting is 40, so that'll be up to 60 for two, which isn't particularly that's bad.
Right.
But obviously your ability is nice here. You do have two retreat as well and are weak to psychic.
Right. So it's gonna, and it does stack, right? I don't know if you said that or not.
Yeah, yeah, presume, yeah,
So
it
that
does.
mean, so if you had a second one, you'd be doing 80 for 2. I think this is right a support Pokemon for some other fighting attackers. And I do, some fighting's not great, at least in terms of is this what the fighting decks need, right? I'm not certain about that.
Yeah, I think like fighting. I've been playing fighting recently, and it's pretty fun. I guess it like isn't quite good enough. Potentially, this will push it over the edge to be like good enough. I mean, it's okay. It's not bad. It's playable.
Yeah.
But you have the Aerodactyl EX, which does 80 for two, and you also have the there's like Primeape. There's some different Primeapes. There is
Yeah, there's Marshadow.
Marshadow. Yeah, that one's really good. And trying to think. One of the ones that's played the most also is Hitmonlee, which this
Right.
doesn't do anything with, which is kind of funny, but definitely seems interesting. Maybe a Pokemon like Hitmonchan could be good as well, which is just 30 for one fighting. So I think this is like a nice little buff to the deck. I think it's a substantial buff to the deck actually. Like Giovanni is a supporter. It's not amazing, but it's definitely a playable and decent. And it is a card that is, I mean, Lucario is more damage and it's every turn, and it's not like super hard to get set up. Not super easy. Stage ones are way hard to get and play than basics. And stage twos are way hard to get and play than stage ones. But Lucario is a card that I think has pretty good upside, but it's upside when paired with something else, which is probably another stage one.
Yeah, right. Because I have been playing Marshadow, Hitmonlee, Greninja Farfetch'd a bunch. Now, it wouldn't help with Farfetch'd, obviously, nor with Hitmonlee, like you said.
or
That
with Greninja.
no, which I don't have energy to attack with. But that's
Yeah,
just there
that
for the
doesn't help like the
pinging.
ability. Yeah, in some ways it's actually very similar. It's similar to Greninja.
Y-
Obviously not hitting the bench, but hitting the active into stage one.
Right. So if you think of it right, in a sense, it does 20 more damage, just like Greninja does with like a Marshadow deck. But it's a stage one instead of a stage two. You lose some flexibility, but but not having to evolve to that second level of evolution. That has it's interesting. So it's a good card to see. Hopefully, there's some other fighting Pokemon that are. I'm assuming there's some attackers in the set that might want to go with this.
Yeah, although Garchomp is not fighting. Traditionally, Garchomp Lucario, classic combo, not here. But yeah, let's talk about that now, I guess. Because well, okay, we don't have a Garchomp. A Garchomp, I guess, could be fighting technically. We saw a Gibble, which is Dragon. But we
Right.
have Cynthia here, which is a supporter. During this turn, attacks used by your Garchomp or Togekiss do 50 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, and it doesn't reference EXs, so presumably those aren't coming. I'm trying to think. What there's like the Blaine, which is similar, and
Right.
also Brock, and Koga, which all refer to specific Pokemon. And none of those have reference EXs, and none of those Pokemon have EXs either.
Right. And the Blaine is 40 though, right? So this is 50. It's 10 more. Is that correct? If I remember right,
Um,
am I
wait,
misremembering?
what? No, Blaine's 30.
Blaine's 30. Okay.
Yeah, so this is noticeably stronger, but they are both stage twos.
Right. So yeah. So we're gonna get Garchomp and Togekiss. That's what we know from this because they're not in the game right now. I don't believe.
Yeah,
And
no, and then Togekiss probably will be I think it'll be colorless. Togekiss often tends to be colorless. Garchomp might be. I think it'll maybe have one colorless attack and one attack that's like one fighting. If I had to guess, like fighting colorless, something like that.
okay, because they do have uh, the Gibble right in one of the images, which
Yeah, they have that in
yeah, which is
like
what
behind.
Garchomp evolves from, right? Gibble to Gabite to
Yeah,
Garchomp, which is Dragon type. So I assume that'll stay Dragon type throughout the evolution line.
yeah, presumably, um, but we'll see, right?
Yeah.
So then we have. I don't think there's too much to say about this card, right? The Cynthia, because we don't have the other cards. I mean, yeah, we could like keep speculating,
Right. I mean,
but
right. It's a nice supporter, but it depends what we could do. And the Togekiss is also a stage two, correct?
yeah. So two stage two is probably not good together. I mean, we saw what was it Arbok Weezing? No, Arbok, yeah, Arbok Weezing, but the Koga worked with Muck and Weezing, and those both they're like two specifically the Muck. It takes a bunch of resources, kind of like a stage two, I guess. I mean, it's one less, or it's a bunch of energy instead of an evolution, but it is a card that takes a bunch of resources, so
Right.
you're not putting it in just because you can get some value out of Koga. Cynthia gives more value to whichever the weaker one is, presumably then Koga gives to Muck, and obviously we see like Blaine with both Rapidash and Ninetales, but they're both good, decent cards.
Right. So, right. The fact that stage twos, we'll see. I mean, it's going to have to, you're going to have to be able to one shot EXs, right? And even, do you need to even be able to like one shot like an evolved EX, right? That's the question.
Maybe like probably like 150. I mean, looking at this, the basic EXs, a lot of them have 150 now.
That's
And Dialga
true.
EX and Palkia EX have 150. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, we'll see what the numbers are like. It might be like, yeah, it might be 100. Um, for three, I meant like I was spitballing some numbers and I said 80 for three in a video, and someone's like, yeah, that's probably too low, and yeah, it probably is. That'd be not particularly good. Base damage, I think 100 might be all right. It's not even great. That's not like super good, but I could see it at that level. We'll see how good this ends up being. It could even be like um, cheaper or stronger or something like that.
Right. Right. A big, besides the evolution, what's the energy cost? So, yeah. I mean, it's intriguing. We will see what it does for us. You don't want to. So we have you mentioned what the Turtwig, the Chimchar, and the Piplup that all evolved to stage twos. Is there anything you want to say about those at this point, or not really?
Um, no, I don't know. I think Empoleon gets cool cards pretty consistently. I don't know all the Empoleons. I know a
Right.
lot of them, at least the newer ones. like black and white on. And I'm looking at the past. There's an Napoleon break. I did not know that, but the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like since black and white, there have been like 8 or 9 or something, and like almost all of them have been cool. So I'm excited for that. Napoleon's a cool Pokemon. And then there's also I didn't. Turtwig's going to be a stage. What is there a good stage 2? Oh, I guess Venusaur EX is a good stage 2 grass Pokemon. These could be EX as well. I would not be shocking if they got EXs and single prizers, just like the
Okay.
Gen 1 starters. And then so presumably Garchomp and Togekiss are not getting EXs. So assuming there are 10, we'll probably Dialga and Palkia, Lucario, Pachirisu, which we'll take a look at, 3 starters, and then that would leave 3. That's 3 stage 2s, 3 basics to stage 1. So you need at least 2 more stage 1s, presumably, which would maybe be, I don't know. I'm not really familiar enough with this. I want to quickly take a look to see if I can speculate. Wait, this is Gen 4. So maybe we could get your favorite Wormadam.
Let's
Um,
go.
maybe not. Bronzong. Bronzong is a classic. Could get
Okay.
metal. That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
that'd be nice.
And Electivire and Magmortar are in this set. That's interesting as well. So some Pokemon like don't obviously have like Magneton, right? Magneton's a card. And Magnezone could be in this set. That's interesting to consider because there's some Pokemon that are like Final Evolution Scyther, Magmar, things like this that aren't really like meant to evolve in the game now. It's like they don't evolve, and it seems like they're kind of balanced around that. So if they evolve, they might be really good. So we'll see what happens with that. We are seeing a Leafeon, presumably Glaceon as well. Those should see EXs. They're obviously pretty popular. I love CN Mega
Right.
as well. But we'll see. Could be Arceus as well. Arceus is not would not be surprising.
Right. I hadn't thought of the fact that we might see an EX and a non-EX for the stage 2s for each of these, but that makes sense because, like as you said, that's what they did in Genetic Apex for a bunch for those cards. So
Yeah. Are there any EXs without regular? I guess Celebi doesn't have a regular card, right? Yeah, it
evolving
doesn't.
EXs. Yeah, I'm not.
Because Aerodactyl is a regular card. Mew does, Pidgeot, Gyarados, um, Venusaur, Charizard. I haven't pulled up. Executor, Arcanine, uh, Moltres, Blastoise, Starmie, Articuno, Pikachu, Zapdos, Gengar, Mewtwo, Champ, Marowak. Does Wigglytuff have one? Lapras
Yes,
does as well.
Wigglytuff does. I didn't think it did, but it does. So
Yeah. So yeah. The only one that doesn't is apparently Celebi, which seems like kind of weird. But yeah, we'll probably get a lot of double ups like that, and that'll be exciting to see, I guess, potentially. And then we have Pachirisu EX, I guess, which isn't EX confirmed for the set. We're going to talk about this a little more later. I mean, we're mostly done the podcast, but we'll talk about it probably at the end,
well,
which
I tell
says
you,
it does.
why don't we talk about the other Pokemon and then talk about
Okay,
Pachirisu
I guess that does make
in
sense.
total? Okay.
Mhm.
So we did Cynthia. There's a Cresselia that's on the image with Gibble. Gibble obviously pre-evolution that we don't, doesn't do much. We can't see the attack damage, but I assume
Yeah,
it's
maybe
done
it's like 500.
exactly for one colorless energy. Let's go.
Yeah, basically, that's insane.
So there's a Cresselia, which is a basic, doesn't evolve. 110 HP, so a solid HP there. And then for 2 psychic, it does 50 and it heals 20 damage. And you're not necessarily getting one shot with it, so I think this is an appealing Pokemon. I've been with the win streak event. I had to fall back on Mewtwo EX because I was trying other more interesting decks, but they just weren't quite getting the consistency I wanted. So fell back on the Mewtwo, and of course, so anything with Psychic, it's always an option, right? And this is a solid attack Pokemon, I think.
Yeah, it's okay. Like obviously within Mewtwo EX, that's how you, or with Gardevoir, it's probably how you'd power it up.
Right.
You don't have to. Damage is not great, but it's okay. I mean, it's not that bad. Your tankiness is okay. It's better than most single price basics or single
Right.
point basics. Um, yeah, but it's okay. It's not amazing though. It's fine.
Correct. It's like a possible inclusion, which is I think a good place for cards to be at.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to talk about Leafeon and Honchkrow next?
Yeah, those are the last two cards. Then we got the Pachirisu.
Oh,
So
yes.
Leafeon here has, which again I said might be a target for an EX. Don't want to get people's hopes up too much, but does make sense. Very popular. I mean, evolutions.
Right.
Though Flareon and Jolteon, Vaporeon did not have EXs, but Leafeon here for grass colorless, you do 90, can attack next turn. No idea what the retreat cost is. I think probably I don't know what Leafeon usually has. I think it's like 2 or 1. I think it's 1. Oh yeah, no, it's like 1 or 2, so it'll be there. Obviously, that matters.
Right.
If it's 1 or 2, though.
Yeah. So you're right. That's a big difference. I don't know. Based upon the, yeah, I don't know. Seems like two is what they want to make it, just kind of based upon where Pocket's at in these numbers. So 90 uh, HP and 90 damage. And 90 HP is not great, but 90 can't attack damage, can't attack next turn's not great. I guess in EV obviously lends itself to boxes, but since we have the energy zone with different types of Pokemon, who knows what you're going to get. So it gets a little dicey. And I wonder, does this mean will we get a new EV in this set? We already have a couple EVs in the game already, I believe.
Yeah, I think is it 3? Also, like in Genetic Apex, we got like 3 of the same EV, which I did not like. I mean, and their arts aren't even like I don't think they're that cool, but we got a bunch of them. I
Yeah,
mean, it's EV, it's popular, but still, yeah. So we got 3 unique EVs though, so
right.
probably a fourth, and probably won't be able to play with the other EVs or evolutions.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. It's not jumping out as a great card, but we'll see. And then the Honchkrow, 100 HP, so that's gets 10 more than the Leafeon. An attack called Skill Dive. Don't know what the energy cost is. Its retreat cost is 2, and it does 50 damage to one of your opponents. Something. I assume Pokemon, so I assume it can
Yeah,
hit
I
the
was gonna
bench
say
or
I
the
thought it was
active.
Pokemon. I don't know if it can hit the active. It might just be benched. So we have seen Lumineon, which is like oh, but someone in the video said like so I mean this is like kind of it's loosely related, but someone was like the Pokemon Flute is good because I said it was like bad, and I think
Okay.
it is bad. But like you can use it to bring back Pokemon to snipe them with Lumineon. But people don't really play Lumineon. And then I looked, and some people do play it. Um, but they don't always play Pokemon Flute anyway. So it was like 50-50, which actually surprised me. I was actually expecting it to be in those decks. But regardless, Lumineon is 50 snipe for 2 water on stage 1 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and it does have free retreat, though I think it looks like it's a little hard to tell from the angle, but I think this is to any of their Pokemon.
Uh,
Probably 2 Darkness Energy. Lumineon has 80 HP, but does have free retreat. So yeah, I think it's probably 2 Darkness, 50 Snipe anywhere.
yeah,
If I
I'm
had to
pretty sure
guess.
it's anywhere. I don't think it says bench only. I don't think it has the space to put those words in. Into Darkness probably seems about fair. So, I'm trying to think what I'd use it with, right? Because it's not a deck unto itself, and I don't, it's been basically like the Wheezing deck is the Darkness deck I'm playing when I played it, and I don't see this. I don't think this goes in that deck. So,
Yeah, I mean you can buy time. Maybe if your opponent like switches Sniper on the bench. I don't know. That doesn't
yeah.
seem that good though.
So again, it's okay, right? Which is where a lot of these cards probably are. But I design wise, I'm always glad for that. I don't, the worst thing is, oh, this card's so great, and therefore there's like 3 cards that you have to play, and it pushes out all the other things, right? We're not seeing power creep pushing out the old cards here, which is good, right? I'm glad for that. So you don't have to like it's not the whole days they printed Arceus for the TCG. You got to get that. Then they print Palkia. You got to ditch the Arceus, get that right. Um, that might drive us to that point in Pocket at some point, but it doesn't
Yeah,
look
we
like.
haven't seen all the cards. We've only seen a handful. So it's the Arceus.
Yeah,
And it could be broken. You never know.
that is true. Arceus could be the one card to rule them all. So, but so you want to talk about the Pachirisu here?
Yeah, I would say I think this card's pretty good. Well, I don't know. We haven't seen all this stuff on it, but it's a basic EX. It's a basic lightning EX, and it attacks for 2 lightning. We don't know the HP.
Right.
Um, what's the lowest? I think it's 120 on Pikachu EX. I'm pretty sure. So like probably 130s where I'm expecting this to be. Maybe 120. I don't think it'll be less than Pikachu. Um, and presumably weak to fighting, but we don't know that. But Sparking Gadget here says for 2 lightning, if this Pokemon has a tool attached, it does 40 more damage. We don't know what the tool is going to be at all. Like I have no idea. I know what the
Right.
regular Pokemon TCG tools are, and I think all of them would be like super broken in Pocket. So, but ignoring that, we'll just say it's a tool. If you don't know, tools are cards that are like, they're a type of trainer, and you attach them to a Pokemon. And you can have one tool attached to a Pokemon, and you can play as many as you want on your turn to your different Pokemon. And they do stuff. They stay on, presumably. Like some disappear, but generally they stay on, and they provide like stat buffs. But honestly, just like it's not that hard to get a tool on, and that's 80 for 2 lightning on a basic. That seems like almost Pikachu EX levels of good.
Right.
This card seems very good. Not like broken, but I think it's really good.
Well, here's two things. It potentially is even better. Like I would expect the tool to be like does say uh 10 more damage, right? That might be a
Yeah,
fair
maybe.
tool, but now you're doing
But that's like
90. So
yeah, well then and also there's I said it was really good, but don't know how many tools there are. So if the tools like if the
right.
tools like fall off every turn, that's kind of bad for this. But then I think it can be okay, but not amazing. Like the TMs in standard will fall off after the turn after. Or at the end of the turn. So, and then also it could be that there's only like one tool in the set. So then this is not as good. Or even 2 tools in the set is probably you might want like 5 tools. 5 tools seems like a lot. Probably like 4. I'm not sure, but
Right, because you're playing a 20
yeah,
card deck, so I don't know that you can put more than 4 deck slots for tools. So one of the questions, look, it's a basic, so it's easy to set up. How easy are you going to get the tools? I assume we're not going to have like a supporter to help get tools or anything in the game. So, it's going to be, are you going to get the tool when you need it? I don't, it'll be interesting to see. And what are the tools? That's probably the biggest question of all, right? How good are they going to be? I assume it's going to buff a little bit of damage. It'll buff a little bit of HP. It may be a damage reduction. Those are kind of the standard, right? More generic tool type things, right? Reduce retreat costs, something along those lines.
yeah. And also, this is not the first mention of tools. We didn't know they were coming into the game because in Pokemon TCG Pocket, it like mentions tools somewhere, in like a menu search option. And this is there are 4 types or 4 categories. There are items, supporters, tools, and item fossils, which we have in the game, which I still think are kind of silly. But and I honestly think they don't need to be supporters and items in the game, to be honest. But like I feel like they would have been similar enough, or they could have removed it and they wanted to simplify. But whatever. Then yeah, I think tools are going to be. I don't know. I don't have too much speculation about it, to be honest. But I am excited to see them and hope they add some more interesting things to the game.
Right. I mean, obviously, the Pachirisu is going to need the tool. So how viable is that going to be? But also, what are the tools going to be? Because assuming there's some of these generic type tools that are often the regular TCG, that can have a lot of impact for a lot of decks, right? Just giving 10 more HP, 10 more damage is a big swing to things. Or if you had a tool for reduce retreat cost to 1, that's a really big swing in this game too. So. Um, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
like they're like items, like 1 turn items or 1 turn supporters. Um, and that's like obviously you don't want the tools just better than the items just supporters.
Right. So potentially of the stuff we have, it's a lot of unknown. The tools could be the biggest impact to the game, more broadly speaking, right? Because there'll be some new decks that come out of a new set. That's what happens. But it's still going to be the old top decks are still going to be top decks most likely, right? It's unlikely. Like, is Mewtwo going to not be good? Is Pikachu EX not going to be good? I doubt that, right? They're probably
Yeah.
still around. So if anything that makes those decks better, in some sense, is just as big a deal or bigger deal than any new deck that's comparable.
Yeah, like Pachirisu EX, making Pikachu EX better. Let's go. I play Pikachu EX. You don't play Pikachu
No,
EX.
hopefully next time we record, I can say I now have 2 copies of Pikachu, or maybe I'll have
Yeah,
traded for 1 copy of Pikachu, and now it's like, oh, after a month from now, I'll recharge my stamina to get my second Pikachu. I don't know. Time will
yeah.
tell. So.
But anyways, I'm really excited for these new changes in the Pokemon TCG Pocket. Like I think it's gonna be. I think they all seem good. I would have liked to see maybe a few more cards from the set, but it seems fine.
Yeah, I mean right. We're used to with the TCG cards get leaked so much in advance. Plus, if they get leaked in Japan, and then obviously they get played in Japan, so we know all the cards basically before they come here. They keep the mystery for Pocket, which I think in a lot of ways is a nice thing. A few more cards might be nice to know about. The fact that trading's coming the day before means the anticipation for this kind of gets diminished because we have another thing. We have another shiny new toy the day before. So, but yeah, so this is a big deal because this is the first time we get a main set, a full set, right? We had the theme set, I guess it was, whatever they called it. So getting a full set. I guess the other question: are there going to be any trainers that get added to the shop? We haven't seen anything
Yeah,
like
that's what
that.
I was wondering about. I think probably not. I mean, we'll see. I can't think of one. I don't know. We'll see if we get another draw support as well. We only have one in the game right now. Um,
Right.
yeah, one main item search. So I'm excited to see. Maybe we'll get the search for, or not like the search, but get a random evolution card. A lot of people have been asking for that, or some people have at least. It
Right.
probably makes a lot of sense, and I'm excited for the new cards. But tell us down below in the comments if you're watching on YouTube what you're excited for, or if you're not watching on YouTube, then if you want to ask us something, ask us on YouTube, or like we have Discord as well, stuff like that. But we hope you enjoyed the episode. Check us out on our different YouTube channels, 10 Types and Uncommon Fossil, as well as you can listen to us on podcasting platforms like Spotify, things like that. But we hope you enjoyed, and we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.